Hi there, I'm digital anchor Brandi Smith. We are tracking breaking news, the shooting of 3 HPD officers around 3 o'clock this afternoon, according to HPD. And right now you're looking at a live shot of Memorial Hermann in the Med Center. This is where those 3 officers were taken and where we anticipate we will hear from HPD Chief Troy Finner very shortly. Reporter David Gonzalez, who has been at the scene, reported seeing Chief Finner enter the hospital to check on those officers. We know one of them is in critical condition. The other 2 were told they are stable. Their condition isn't worsening, but it's not getting better, and we don't have a clear idea of what kind of condition they are in, only that one is in critical condition. At this moment, there is also another scene unfolding over in 5th Ward. Let me pull up a map so you guys can get a better view of this. The 3 officers were shot in 3rd Ward in about the 2100 block of McGowan. This is just a couple blocks off of the East Tex Freeway there. 4 miles away from that, at Lyons and Lockwood, just off I-10, that is where there is a standoff underway. We do have a live crew at the scene. We're not going to bring you live coverage of that right now because of the efforts of police to get the suspect out of what we're told is a home where he is barricaded. That suspect, according to law enforcement sources, is Roland Caballero. We're told he may have a gunshot wound to the neck after getting into that shootout with officers on McGowan over in the 3rd Ward. Let's catch you up from the very beginning. So, according to witnesses, about 3 o'clock, they heard what sounded like a crash, then 50 rounds of gunfire. One of the witnesses says when he opened his townhome door, he was right there. He saw a fallen officer just outside the door. It appeared, according to neighbor Stephen Henson, that the officer had been shot in the leg, but he couldn't say for sure. It was hard to determine the exact injuries. The neighbor says safety's never really been an issue. If you're familiar with that area, I live just north of it. I actually live immediately in between these 2 scenes. He says safety has never been an issue. There is a heavy police presence in that area when you consider the fact that one witness said he estimated there were 50 rounds. That's a lot to process. And as we watched, from the moment our crews got on scene, investigators seemed to expand the search area, closing off more streets, more intersections, more blocks to gather all of that evidence. In this video, you just saw an HPD SUV with the window shattered. There's a lot of focus on that gray car. We don't know how that is connected, whether that vehicle was involved, but it is up on the sidewalk. And one of the witnesses who lives in this area did say that he heard at first what sounded like a crash. Now let's take you over to Lockwood and Lyons. So if you're familiar, I'm sorry, this appears to be the same video. I'm gonna come back here. I don't think I have the right video loaded up for you, but if you're familiar with Lyons and Lockwood, so just east of downtown on
Hello,
I-10,
producers, can you hear me?
It's the second or third exit
Producers.
after 59.
Right now, the
After you
PIO
hop
says
off
that they're
north or
coming
south
out
on
now.
59.
I don't
We
see them
have,
right now.
Walgreens
But
right
as
there,
soon as I see them
SUV,
walking out of that bay
there's a
door,
Taco
I'll give you
Bell.
guys a heads up.
There's
We do
also
have to
Atherton
switch
Elementary
mics.
School.
No, do we have
Melissa
to switch
Correa,
mics?
who's
No,
on the
we're
scene
just
there, Lyons
ignore
and
that.
Lockwood.
But as
Okay.
soon as I see them, I'll just let you know on the mic.
Melissa Correa said that police swarmed
Nathan's
in and
getting a
cleared
shot
those
right now.
areas because there was the threat that someone could get hurt. I just heard from the leader of our digital team that this press conference with Chief Troy Finner is slated to start at any minute. We've been standing by. He was inside the hospital, I'm sure, checking in with the officers, checking in with their family, checking in with the brothers and sisters in blue to see how they're doing after what has been just a devastating week for law enforcement in Harris County. Earlier today, I was here live streaming as a whole team of law enforcement talked about the efforts that went into capturing Oscar Rosales, the man accused of gunning down Corporal Charles Galloway. And the morning after Corporal Galloway was shot and killed, a Harris County sergeant was hit by a suspected drunk driver. And just a few days before all of that, we had the K-9 officer who was stabbed, who is recovering. And then days before that, you had a Harris County deputy who took her own life. So just a heartbreaking, devastating week for law enforcement. As we wait for this press conference to get started, I want to share some of the sentiments that have been posted online from local leaders. Judge Hidalgo saying, "I'm saddened and absolutely outraged over this latest attack on our police. Gun violence is out of control and weapons of war have no place on our streets." Oh, it sounds like we have some sound coming through here that shouldn't be. Let me fix that. There we go. Also in this tweet, Judge Hidalgo says she is in touch with Mayor Turner and that he has our full support for anything he or HPD needs. This is from HPD's police chief, HISD's police chief, praying for the 3 HPD officers shot this afternoon, saying we are praying for a speedy recovery. Constable Alan Rosen, Precinct 1, praying for the HPD officers who've been shot in 3rd Ward after a chase, he says. And Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, please keep the 3 Houston police officers who were shot and all members of their department in your prayers.
He's shaking hands with.
We're just seeing an outpouring
people
of love, prayer, support for those officers who
apparently
are
he's shaking
there
hands
at
with the
Memorial
U.S.
Herman
Marshal.
in the Med Center. That's where that live shot that you see up in the corner is. We're standing by waiting for Chief Troy Finner to come on up.
You should see it in your monitor right now.
You can see the presence there. Actually, the fella in the cowboy hat, maybe with the U.S. Marshals, he looks like the representative who spoke earlier today when a number of agencies were talking about the arrest of Oscar Rosales in Ciudad Acuña, just across the U.S. border with Mexico. It looks like Chief Finner there behind the truck. I'm sure gathering information, making sure he is fully briefed before he comes up to that microphone, before he releases any information about these 3 officers, about their injuries. That is the U.S. Marshals representative we heard from earlier. It looks like a lot of HPD there. I don't know how many other agencies are present, but David Gonzalez, again, the reporter who's on the scene there, tweeted a photo or video earlier showing the heavy law enforcement presence at Memorial Herman as agencies from all over the Houston area come in to check on their brothers, maybe sisters in blue. We don't know anything about these officers at this time, don't know male or female, how long they've been with the department. We don't even know at this point what led up to their shooting. Witnesses in the area where it happened over there in 3rd Ward say they heard what sounded like a crash, some commotion, and then all of those shots being fired. We don't know if those were all from police or all from another side. Oh, hold on one moment. Okay, now we're hearing that Chief Troy Finner may wait until 6 o'clock straight up to come over to the microphone and give his first comments since we learned about these 3 HPD officers being shot in the line of duty. Witnesses say those sounds that they heard, the commotion, happened about 3 o'clock. As I pull up the tweet from Houston Police, that first tweet went out about 4:29, it says. But we had confirmation a little bit earlier than that. We've had breaking coverage for you, I want to say, since about 3:45 this afternoon, going through the 4 o'clock hour into the 5 o'clock. We have reporters at all different scenes. So I've mentioned David Gonzalez, who's there at Memorial Hermann. Zach Tawatari is on the ground in that 2100 block of McGowan where the shooting happened, and where investigators are processing just a massive scene with, it sounds like, dozens of rounds at least fired, according to witnesses. And then there's that other scene, the scene where the standoff is happening at Lyons and Lockwood. I actually want to check in on the Twitter feed of Melissa Correa, a reporter who is there. Again, we
mic check,
don't
mic check,
have
mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
live feed because of the tactical nature of what law enforcement is doing there. We don't want to hinder that at all. So Melissa is there. She is sharing videos and updates. She did share a video of something called the Rook. It's a SWAT tactical vehicle that allows for a shield to be pushed forward and placed. If you wanted to pop over onto her Twitter feed, you can get a look at that vehicle. She tweeted she was doing a quick Google search to learn more about the Rook, and she says an officer told her, "The last time I saw one was in Afghanistan." She adds, "Well, more police departments across America apparently have them too." She says, "My hope is that all these officers on scene get home safe and sound." A neighbor who is in that area of Lyons and Lockwood, who says she was in her sister's backyard kind of watching everything unfolding. It's hard to say how accurate her estimate was, but she said 100 officers were there. And if you look at some of the video that Melissa sent in a little bit earlier, when the scene was quieter, you can see the heavy presence. Several different agencies there trying to track down this man. Let me pull up his mugshot again. This is Roland Caballero. He is the man, law enforcement sources say, shot those 3 HPD officers earlier this afternoon. We are told he is holed up in a home near Lyons and Lockwood, and that he may have a gunshot wound to the neck. Now, whether that's self-inflicted, whether that was part of gunfire between him and officers over on McGowan, we don't have a lot of those answers. That's why we are very anxiously awaiting Chief Finner's comments, which we suspect will be coming up in the next 4 minutes or so. I want to see really quickly if I might be able to get some of the video that Melissa Correa has been sharing. Sorry, I run this whole thing and I'm trying to keep you guys updated. I know it's not always the smoothest. I do want to keep this live look at Memorial Hermann up though, just because if Chief Finner does come up to the microphones, we want to make sure you hear from him. Of course, we will have continuing coverage coming up on KHU 11 News at 6. And that may be when we take the Chief's press conference in full. Okay, let me see if I can pull this in. Bear with me, I appreciate your patience. There it is. All right, so this that you can see there, that's the Rook. This is video from our Melissa Correa, who is in the Walgreens parking lot. I know that because that's my Walgreens. I live maybe a mile from there. So this is on the north side of I-10. You have Lockwood right there that's dividing the Walgreens parking lot from the CVS parking lot. And then off to the left That's Lyons. And that's where this heavy police presence is. And the Rook is that piece of equipment I was describing to you earlier that can set a shield in place. I see a whole contingent of law enforcement walking across the street from Memorial Hermann right now. That looks like Mayor Turner, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, Chief Troy Finner, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez. They are all walking over to the podium. And as soon as they do, I will bring the sound there up and we can hear from Chief Finner about the 3 officers who were shot in the line of duty today.
Where's Sam? Sam. All right.
Am I taking this on or keeping this on?
Leave mine.
You gonna leave? Well, I'll leave it on. Let me get things started. Standing, of course, here with Chief Fenner. He'll be speaking in a few minutes. Appreciate Chief Pena from the fire department being here. Thank you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, for being here. Councilmember Carolyn Evans Shabazz, and all of these men and women in blue, police officers. Kind of give you a brief update, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Chief Fenner. Let me just start off by saying we are certainly praying for our police officers who were shot today. I will tell you, one was shot in the foot, one was shot in the leg, and one was shot in the arm. All of their injuries are non-life-threatening. Had a chance to visit with each one of them and even with some of the family members. All 3 officers are in good spirits. All were talkative. And we expressed, number one, our support of them, how appreciative we are of their service, and how grateful and thankful that their injuries were not a lot worse, because it could certainly have been a lot worse. So again, all of them are in good spirits, and their injuries are non-life-threatening. Had a chance to talk to all of them. This has been a tough week. Starting on Saturday, it's been a tough week. It's been a tough week for law enforcement. And it's been a tough week for the city as a whole, quite frankly, for the city as well as the county. What it indicates again is that being a police officer in this case, or in law enforcement, is an inherently dangerous job. Every single day, when these police officers leave their homes, go on their particular shifts, not knowing what they will encounter in that day, being a police officer is an inherently dangerous job. And so I cannot tell you how proud I am of every single law enforcement officer that serves our city, that gives their all in the service of our city. And so I want to ask the people in this city to continue to lift them up, to continue to be very supportive of them, to let them know that we are very supportive of them and that we appreciate them doing everything they can to keep the rest of us safe. These are inherently right now dangerous times, and that was demonstrated again today. We are living in inherently dangerous time, and it's going to take all of us working together to create and have a very safe city. There are a lot of guns on the street. Quite frankly, there are just too many that are on the streets and in the hands of people who will use these guns at a second, on a notice. And again, this is one of those situations. Person gets out, person starts shooting. And now we have 3 police officers who are in the hospital with gunshot wounds. So I want to continue to be supportive. Now, let me just say this. The chief and I, on next week, we'll lay out some additional steps that we intend to take in this city to do our part as a city to try to make this city a safe city in which to live. So next week we'll lay out some additional steps. I won't go into those steps today, but I'm going to ask people in this city to work with police, to work with Crime Stoppers and others, to participate in helping to make this city a safer city. And if we work together, we will do that. We're going to get through these times. And I know there's a lot of people are fearful right now, justifiably so, but we will get through these times. But in the meantime, please pray for these 3 officers that their recovery will be very quick. They'll be able to get back on their feet and then get back to their jobs in the line of duty, doing what they love to do each and every day. Having said that, Chief Fenton, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Congresswoman, Councilwoman, and Chief Pena, from Union, and all our other leaders. Thank y'all for standing with us. Mayor's hit on a lot of the points. I just want to say one thing. I want everybody, all our leaders, before I update you on what happened out here on this scene, no more excuses. Everybody, take an active role and get intentional in doing whatever you can do to fight gun violence in our city, period. It's not really a difficult thing. Bad, dangerous people, it's a place for them, and that's in jail. But let me give you the update. So approximately 2:42 p.m., officers responded to a residence on the 1500 block of Trolley Street. The suspect at some point spotted the officers. He took off in a vehicle. Officers pursued the suspect to McGowan and Hutchison Street. The suspect crashed. Officers, as they got out of the vehicle, the suspect immediately fired upon the officers, striking 3 officers. All the officers returned fire. It is unknown at this time if that suspect is hit. Once he got out of that vehicle, he carjacked at gunpoint a white Mercedes-Benz. Other officers pursued him to a home in the 1800 block of Lockwood. Officers surrounded that house. The suspect fired multiple times. Thank God he didn't strike any of the officers. Officers returned fire. Again, we don't know if that suspect is injured. He's still in the home. We treat it as a barricaded suspect. We'll give you an update as I receive it. The last update I received a few minutes ago, he's still in the home. We're trying to negotiate to get him out. We got 2 crime scenes. The officers who fired, they're going to be on administrative leave after they get out of the hospital. But the mayor said it, and we're just grateful to God that they're all right. It's been a tough week for law enforcement in our city. And the two law enforcement officers that we lost, continue to pray for them and their family as we plan for their funerals. It is tough. When I received that call today, 3 officers down, and you don't know the condition. But I'm gonna tell you, stand by your law enforcement officers. Stand by the justice system. And we're gonna continue to work here in Harris County, Houston-Harris County, to make sure we're doing everything we can do. But we need help from everybody. And remember what I said. And this doesn't go for individuals who need treatment, suffering from drug addiction or mental illness. But these violent individuals, I'm damn tired of it. And we need to stand up as a community and do whatever we gotta do. If that is to have more jail capacity, let's get it done. No more excuses. Questions?
Before
I'm
you
sorry.
go to question, let me just say this. I do want to thank the police officers who transported these wounded officers to Memorial Hermann. And I want to thank the Houston Fire Department, Chief Pena, for being right there promptly and for transporting officers to Memorial Hermann. And then let me thank the medical team and the staff, the nurses, the doctors here at Memorial Hermann. each and every time. They do an exceptional job of going over and above, providing excellent medical care to our officers, to firefighters, to people who find themselves in need of care. You just couldn't find a better place. So, we took the time, in addition to thanking firefighters and police officers, thanking the medical team and the medical staff. I do want to say that, we provided resources to the police department. We'll provide even more. It's going to take all of us at every level to step up and to do our part to make this a safer city. And we will. We will make this a safer city. And we will provide our police officers with all the resources that they need. But I do want to say next week that we will be outlining additional steps that will be taken to reinforce police officers and others who are out here fighting to make our city safe each and every day. But I do want to thank these police officers and firefighters and others for being on the front line and for doing an exceptional job on behalf of the people in our city. Thank you, Chief. I'll give it back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Go ahead. Questions?
What was the original call? How did they end up coming in contact?
Just some type of disturbance call, family disturbance, possibly because it's at a residence, but it's still active, and that's what I have at this time. Go ahead.
Sources of mine told me that the gunman might have been using a weapon modified with like an auto switch.
I can tell you this, and I can't confirm it because but what officers described it as an automatic, a fully automatic weapon, and that's something else that we need to address in our community, and we will.
Do you think is the suspect still alive? Do you think?
I'm not sure. I don't know. They're still out, trying to negotiate with him and get him out, so we don't know at this time.
Has he been communicating?
No. Go ahead.
I don't know if Chief Pena can tell us in Spanish the condition of the officers.
Yeah. Give us 1 second, and we're gonna get through with these, and then we'll do the yeah. Okay. Hold up. Let this pass.
There could be 50 plus shots fired. Is
That could be accurate. Multiple shots. Multiple shots. Yes.
Chief, did you say that some of the officers were transported by other officers?
Yes. I think 2 of our officers were self-transported by one of our patrol officers, and the third was from HFD.
Can you tell us about the condition of the person that was carjacked? How's that person doing?
I hadn't heard any injuries on that, and we hope that's the case, but we'll follow up with you on that because I don't know at this time. One question over there, I can't see through the lights. Go ahead.
That was the same question. Did you find other weapons inside the Charger?
That's part of the investigation, and at this point, I don't know right now. That scene's still active. Go ahead.
Were some areas evacuated because of the danger? Because of the...
I'm pretty sure that's a residential area out there on Lockwood, and that's what we do. We try to evacuate everybody around there, keep them safe.
Can you describe the suspect's knowledge of the home he's barricaded in? Is that a home that he knows? Did he break
I'm not sure. I just can tell you it's a single residence home, a 1-story, I think. Yeah.
Tell us more about the suspect himself.
I don't have any suspect information right now. Nothing confirmed. Okay.
Was there anybody in the home when he went into that home?
I did get some reports that there were some residents in the home and they ran out when he came, but we don't believe it's anybody in there right now but the suspect, but we need to confirm that.
So no potential hostages?
Not at this time. Any more questions?
Was the Lockwood address like a random place that he went to, or did he go there for?
I'm not sure. Yeah, not sure, Randy. Thanks.
Chief, this callous disregard for the law, for law enforcement, the lives of law enforcement, what do you attribute that to?
Hey, who knows? But I know one thing, Randy. We need to address it, and we need to deal with those individuals. And one thing that people miss sometimes, it's not most of our citizens. It's a small group of individuals that's committing havoc. Our city is a great city with great people in it, and we're going to stand up for them, and we're going to find out a way to deal with those very few, very violent individuals. So thanks for that question.
Chief, could you let us know about the ranks of the officers injured? Are
Everybody is, I'll give you the
3, 4, and 5 years.
3, 4, and 5 year. They all officers from Northeast. Thanks for asking. All right.
Because they continued to, participate in the shootouts after they were already injured.
Let me tell you something, and that's what people need to understand about the great men and women on our police department. You have some brave officers that put their line on the line every day, and I'm proud of them. And make no mistake about it, we release videos, and citizens are gonna see the fight in them when they have to fight.
Question for the mayor. You said that you're going to announce some initiatives next week. Are you talking to other cities? You know that this is happening across the country.
It is happening across the country, but I would tell you I'm primarily concerned about what's happening in the city of Houston. Over the last week and a half, Chief Fenner and I and others have been talking about additional steps that we intend to take to protect the people in this city and to make this city safer. A more comprehensive approach. Quite frankly, that was going to be laid out this week, but so much has taken place this week. So we will unfold those initiatives next week. But the crime in this city is too high, okay? And it is important that we do everything on our part at the city to combat that. Now, even everything that we will announce next week need to be augmented and supplemented by other levels. We have way too many cases that are backlogged criminal cases, over 100,000. That's unacceptable, okay? So there are many additional things that need to take place. But in terms of what the city can do, we will lay out those additional steps that we intend to take next week. I do want to acknowledge Doug Griffin, head of HPOU, and thank him and the union for their collaboration all throughout this. But those initiatives will be announced on next week.
All right, that's it. Okay, one more, and we'll let Chief, you want to translate for us? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Where did it start? The street that it started? And it was around 3 o'clock, right?
Yeah, 2 o'clock, Trolley Street.
Trolley Street? Okay.
Yeah, truly.
Truly?
Yeah.
Bueno, buenas tardes. Mire, estamos aquí para informar a nuestra comunidad que esta tarde, más o menos como a las 3 de la tarde, comenzó los policías, el departamento de policía, a seguir un sospechoso. Comenzó en la calle Trolley y llegaron hasta la calle McGowan y Hutchin, donde el carro chocó. El sospechoso que estaban siguiendo salió del vehículo y comenzó a disparar contra los policías. Fueron 3 los policías que fueron heridos. Los policías tienen 3, 4 y 5 años en la fuerza del departamento. Ahorita están en condición estable y como dice el jefe de policía Troy Finner y el alcalde Sylvester Turner, están muy orgullosos. Todos estamos muy orgullosos del trabajo que hicieron en el departamento de policía hoy para poder contener esta emergencia. Ahorita el sospechoso está barracado en una casa. Todavía es una escena que sigue comenzando en pie y esperamos que se resuelva bien y apropiadamente. Pero les podemos comentar que los policías están estables ahorita, esperamos que se recuperen a un 100%, pero queremos que la comunidad los tenga en su pensamiento y que recen por ellos y nuestra comunidad, que ahorita estamos viendo mucho crimen en esta comunidad. El alcalde también quiere comunicar que está incluyendo recursos apropiados para aumentar los elementos de policía para poder combatir este crimen que estamos viendo en nuestra comunidad y él está poniendo de su parte para poder hacer lo que se tiene que hacer para que la ciudad de Houston esté bien y segura.
Let me just say, I also appreciate the president and the executive director of the African American Police Officer League being present as well.
Okay. Thank y'all. All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks for being here.
That was an update from Chief Finner and Mayor Turner on the shooting of 3 officers and an ongoing standoff with the suspect. You can see all the flashing lights in the live shot here. Mayor Turner says all 3 officers' injuries are non-life threatening. 1 officer shot in the foot, 1 in the leg, 1 in the arm. All are in good spirits.
As for that standoff, it continues right now in the 5th Ward. Let's go to Melissa Correa. She's there live. Melissa?
Hey there, Len. As night is falling, the most we can make out at this point are the red and blue flashing lights from law enforcement vehicles posted throughout the intersection of Lyons and Lockwood. I can tell you folks, since we joined you last during KHOU 11 News at 5, that HPD's bomb squad and SWAT team have moved in even more tactical gear, including a newer device called the Rook. From what we saw here at Public Vantage Point, it looks as though it provides a shield, and it also moves or maneuvers like a bulldozer and a forklift. Police Chief Troy Finner talked about those ongoing negotiations with a man, the suspect identified by the state's largest police union as Roland Caballero. It's the police union that confirms on social media that Caballero was shot in the neck. Police are now confirming he's holed up inside a single-story home somewhere here in the 5th Ward on Lockwood. Authorities aren't giving too many more details, and of course, for strategy, an HPD chopper is hovering overhead. That's why Air 11 is not providing a live picture of this scene here for maneuver reasons and all of those sorts of things. We want to make sure that these officers are absolutely safe as they continue to negotiate with this man. Federal agents down to Harris County constable deputies are here. They are suited up. Some of them at some points this afternoon had their guns drawn, and all of them have their bulletproof vests on. The staging area for those law enforcement officers are here at Lyons and Lockwood. Police did an excellent job, I can tell you, rapidly clearing the scene. A Chase Bank and 2 pharmacies here on this intersection. An elementary school and a high school are just blocks away. Okay, so this is what's happening right now. This standoff with this man suspected of shooting 3 Houston police officers. A live photo from Air 11 and some live pictures there in the 3rd Ward, about a 4-mile drive from where we are here at Lyons and Lockwood, is going to detail what happened earlier this afternoon. And that's the new information that we're getting now. Just before 3 this afternoon, some Houston police officers got a call about a disturbance at a Houston home. Well, a guy, as soon as the cops showed up, police say, jumped into a car and police had to give chase. As soon, police say, as the guy turned onto Hutchins at McGowan, he crashed his vehicle. Police say he flung open his door, and officers on the ground told the police chief they believe a fully automatic weapon was used to shoot and hit 3 Houston police officers. Thankfully, they're being treated at the Texas Medical Center this evening, and we're told conditions are stable as far as that much is concerned. But a wild scene about 4 miles away. We're hearing from a witness who spoke to KHOU 11 earlier this afternoon. Listen to what he told us today. Okay, we don't have that sound up. We do not have that sound up available. This is an active scene as we're continuing to cover multiple scenes throughout the Houston area. An investigation is happening there at McGowan and Hutchins as police exchanged gunfire with this man that a Texas police union is identifying as Roland Caballero. He is now holed up, according to Houston's police chief, at a home along Lockwood, not far from Lyons. Houston police are telling us perhaps when this scene is clear that we'll get a media briefing here on scene in the 5th Ward. You know, to go back to what Mayor Turner just said earlier this evening, we are living in a dangerous time. 3 Houston police officers shot attempting to respond to a disturbance at a home. This is coming days after a Harris County corporal was shot and killed during a traffic stop. At the very least tonight, prayers for police and the hope that all of these authorities here on scene make it home safe and sound.
Work, and we are hoping for all of them to head home safe tonight. Melissa Correa, thank you. The injured officers were taken to Memorial Hermann Hospital. David Gonzalez joins us now live in the Texas Medical Center with more on their conditions. David.
Hey, we just finished talking to Mayor Sylvester Turner, who wants the whole community to pray for these 3 officers who were shot this afternoon in 3rd Ward. He said that one officer was shot in the foot, another officer was shot in the arm, and the other one in the leg, all luckily suffering non-life-threatening injuries. We've learned that those 3 officers are each a 3, 4, and 5-year veteran of this force, and just seconds ago they told us that we can expect the names of those officers to be released around or just before 10 o'clock this evening. But they're telling us that the mayor met with all 3 officers individually and that they're all in good spirits, which is good news, and they're talkative. The mayor says that he thanked them for their service and that he says this could have been a lot worse because, as we've mentioned, it's been a very sad and deadly week for law enforcement here in Harris County. He says that this is not only a tough week for law enforcement, but it's a tough week for the city of Houston and also Harris County. He says that being in law enforcement right now is inherently a very dangerous job, and he's very proud of what these officers do every single day. He wants the community to pray for these officers and also be supportive of any officer and law enforcement officer that they see out in the scene because he appreciates what they do, and he once again says that this is just a very dangerous time for these officers. He also mentioned that next week he plans to release some steps that will make this city safer. He's calling gun violence in the city an epidemic. Mayor Turner saying the same, Mayor Turner and Chief Troy Finner both reiterating that, saying that this is just a very dangerous time for people living in the city of Houston, but they both vow to make the city safer. But as far as the condition of those 3 officers, we're very happy to report that all 3 of them suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Mia and Len, back to you.
Best news we could have gotten today considering the circumstances. David Gonzalez, thank you. Let's get a quick check now before we wrap up this newscast with David Paul for a look at this evening's weather. Dave?
Weather-wise, it's been a quiet day, but if you are sneezing, it is the cedar pollen, which has gone up to 222. That's at my Twitter account as well if you want to get another look. 56 outside right now. Dew points at 39. It is a delightfully cool evening outside. Traffic's busy on the west side of the 610 loop. Hobby 59. Galveston is a chilly 55 right now. And this evening will quickly drop into the upper 40s as we head toward bedtime tonight. And then as we head into the next 3 days, there's a slight rain chance tomorrow morning. And then after that, it's gorgeous Friday afternoon. And Saturday and Sunday look beautiful as well, with lows in the 30s and highs in the 60s. In fact, as we go into early Friday morning, that rain chance, maybe a few scattered showers south of I-10 as we head towards sunrise tomorrow morning. Galveston and the coast have the best chance for a scattered shower tomorrow morning. And then we clear out. And then by tomorrow afternoon, just beautiful highs, mid-50s. Plenty of sunshine, a cool, sunny day in Houston as we get a winter day coming up. So here's the extended. Friday evening's gorgeous. Saturday and Sunday, lows in the 30s, highs in the 60s. That's a beautiful weekend. Monday afternoon, an 80% chance for thunderstorm rumbles in. We'll take a closer look at that on the 10 o'clock news tonight, guys.
Wow. Stay connected with us at KHRE.com and the mobile app. We will see you with the very latest.
Call Standard today.
Don't delay. Call Standard today.
There's an old proverb that says, a day of traveling will bring a basket full of learning. Fill your basket to the brim in Mississippi.